Hey YouTube, it's Don here. I just wanted to have a quick gun chat video with you guys. Just really quickly, it's Aero Precision Upper, CFA Lower, CFA BCG. Just stating that just for the video. So my roommate, this is his rifle. It's a great little rifle, 14.5-inch barrel, very handy. Anyway, that being said, last weekend he took this rifle camping. And he lubed it up properly, already was properly cleaned, properly lubed, ready to go. So the first round, he fires out of this weapon, or goes to fire, charges the weapon, nothing happens. Checks the chamber, pulls the bolt carrier group back halfway, there's no round inserted. Charges it again, attempts to fire, nothing. So finally, he gets it to fire, but it turns into a single shot, and he can't. Sorry for the movement of the camera, guys. He can't figure out what's going on with it. So he comes home, super frustrated, wants to get an AK. Saying all this stuff. He's just really upset. Now, granted, he's had some issues with this rifle before when it was a pure Civilian Force Arms Xena Gen 4. I'm not going to get into that, but apparently CFA thought it was a voided warranty and wouldn't even look at the rifle, and I just thought that was all crap. But anyway, that's a different story, and I've actually covered that story in other videos I've done. So anyway, excuse me. So he at this point is pretty much done with this rifle mentally. So I asked him, I'm like, okay, well, what happened? He told me, like I was saying before, failure to cycle, failure to feed, failure to extract. And he only had 2 failure to extracts, I believe is what he said. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, what the hell? Now, granted, I have not been able to shoot with this guy. We kind of have opposite schedules. He's a bartender. I kind of have a more of a day job. So while he's sleeping, I'm at work, and, I get off and he's getting ready to go to work. So once in a while we'll have a weekend where we can go. Well, that's been kind of few and far between. So I haven't been able to, teach him as much as I would like to. Excuse me. So anyway, so I was like, well, load the weapon as if, you're getting ready to fire it. Obviously, keep the weapon on safe, point it in a safe direction. And charge the weapon and go condition 1, round in chamber, bolt forward, the whole 9. So he does it, and I was like, well, check the chamber now, check and see if it loaded around. What do you think happened? Didn't load around. So I'm like, But as he was doing this, he loaded, when he inserted the magazine into the magazine well, he did it in a very gingerly way, where I did hear a click, from when the magazine clicked into its place. But what he failed to understand was that, some of these polymer magazines, they're, varies in thickness, they all fit fairly well. But some of them are a little tighter than others towards the top of the magazine well, whatever. So I immediately was like, hey man, obviously I didn't teach you this, or I didn't tell you about this, but have you ever heard me say tap, rack, bang? And he's like, I'm not sure. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, when you insert the magazine, you always want to tap it a couple times on the bottom of the magazine to ensure that your magazine is properly seated. And when you racked it before, you rode the bolt home. Okay? Do not ride the bolt home. That's not what you need to do, and that could cause malfunctions. So I showed him a couple ways to properly rack the weapon without riding the bolt home. I was like, and then you check it. You pull your bolt back far enough to where you can see brass. The rifle or the round seated on the bolt face, and let the charging handle go. Tap the forward assist, and you're ready to rock and roll. Most of the time you don't have to tap the forward assist. I just do because it's just ingrained in my mind. And so when I showed him all this, what do you think happened when I did it? And when he did it? The round was chambered. The BCG was properly seated. No issues. I also did a functions check and completely checked the rifle. There was no issues. So really it comes back to user error. Now, he is a rookie when it comes to this. He's only probably shot in his lifetime of AR-15s probably about 3,500 rounds. So, and he's not had formal training. He hasn't gone to any schools or classes, and I have not really had the time to show him, all the ways, and all that. So I, slightly fault myself for that. And so anyway, when I showed him that, it kind of blew his mind a little bit. And he was like, holy shit, it was something that simple. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, but to a new person, it's not that simple. When you're not educated in the functions of the weapon, manual of arms, all these different things that, a new person really isn't going to know, like where it's like ingrained in veterans' minds, whether you're, Army, Marines, and depending on what your job is in the Air Force and depending on what your job is in the Navy, that shit that is just ingrained in your mind. And your immediate remedial actions that you need to do if the weapon has a malfunction, all that. That's something he really didn't know. So I taught him all that stuff. And, obviously I told him, I was like, hey, we need to go to the range again so I can prove this theory to you that your weapon is going to function properly and it's going to cycle properly, it's going to chamber properly, and it's going to eject properly. So anyway, long story short, he was really frustrated because he was just like, man, I wish I would have been able to call you, but I didn't have any service, and I wish I would have been able to, you would have been there, and you would have been able to immediately tell me what was wrong. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. But it was a learning lesson. So just food for thought. If you have an AR-15, tap, rack, bang. Tap the forward assist before you take the weapon off safe and fire to ensure your bolt's properly seated. All that good stuff. And also, watch YouTube videos. There's a lot of great videos out there that, cover a lot of this stuff. So, anyway, enough beating a dead horse. You guys enjoy your weekend. Semper Fi.